Hello, everyone. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Piotr Mucha. I'm a Senior Data Analytics Consultant at Adatis. And for almost 3 years now, I've been building within the Adatis modern data warehouses in Azure. And quite often, we have to mix into the solution SSIS aspects or master data services as well. So over the decade or more now, companies have developed a lot of ETL pipelines, and they are extensively based on SSIS packages. And so now companies are transitioning into the cloud environment. And so they face for both business and financial questions. They have spent a lot of money investing in the SSIS. Now they're transitioning. So what will be, whether they could easily lift and shift what they have built, or whether they need to just recode and rebuild the scripts from scratch. So these are the questions they need to answer, and the simple answer is yes, they can move it to the Azure. There are, however, some limits and costs behind it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was the first slide. So, yes, Data Factory can run the SSIS packages. The question is, how does it do it? So the Data Factory is the cloud integration services, just like the SSIS, but in Azure. So it can move the data, execute scripts, and do the transformation. So behind the scenes, there is the compute infrastructure called integration runtime. And there are 3 types of integration runtimes. The first one is Azure Integration Runtime. This is the fully managed integration runtime by the Microsoft. We don't need to care about the maintenance, scaling, patching, etc. It just do the job. The second type is the self-hosted integration runtime. This is nothing else but our own machine. Can be either in the, for example, virtual machine in the Azure or our own prem machine. So we need to care about the maintenance and patching and scaling, etc. And there is a third one called Azure SSIS Integration Runtime. And this is actually the cluster of virtual machines. There is some way that we can interact with this cluster. We can install our drivers or any extensions or components that we are using in the SSIS. However, there is no dedicated console or whatsoever. Just to give you a better understanding of this, let's go straight into the demo so that we can just see it. So today I'm going to show you the demo of the SSIS package that is using the virtual machine that we'll here imitating the on-prem machine. There, on this machine, we have the PowerShell script that we would like to run. And this PowerShell script generates the sales data and saves it in as the CSV file in the file share. So the SSIS package is calling this PowerShell script. Then it moves the data from the file into the Azure SQL DB, and then it's moving from Azure into the MySQL server. So there is no pre-installed ODBC for MySQL driver, the MySQL driver in the SSIS integration runtime. So we will need to install it as well. So yeah, let me quickly show you. Yeah, so this is the simple SSIS package. Few actions. First, we call the PowerShell on the remote machine. Then we move the file into the Azure SQL DB. Then we call the environmental assignment in the MySQL server, and we move the data from the Azure SQL database to MySQL server. So just to give you, all right. Now opening. So I have created already the dedicated resources. We have the MySQL server here created in Azure environment. We have a SQL server with the database. We have the virtual machine where we have the partial script and the file. We have the data factory, of course, and the storage account. Storage account plays here a role of the staging layer, and we need it in order to install our own components. So here, the MySQL driver. So the first step is we go and open the data factory. First, we need to create the self-hosted integration runtime so that we can connect to the machine we want. So you go to the integration runtimes section and you just click that we would like to create the self-hosted runtime, and we need to provide the name like self-hosted integration runtime, let's say 2, because I have already created one, and it gives us the key. Now, if we take this key and the installer and we go to our virtual machine, we just need to install it and provide the key. Then it will establish the connection. We have just 20 minutes, so I have already done this. So I can close, actually, this integration runtime. We'll not use it. We have the one that is working. Once we have the working self-hosted integration runtime, we can establish connection to it. We can now go and try to create the Azure integration runtime. So we just similarly need to create the name SSIS integration runtime 2, let's say. Then we choose the location, equal bits. We choose the location, ideally the same as we have. Then, because integration runtime, SSIS integration runtime, is the cluster. So we need to choose what are the parameters of each node in the cluster. And so we have the options between 2, 8, 16 cores and the different sizes of memory. In our example, we can go with the lowest one, and we can also choose the number of machine nodes here. And notice that here is the estimated cost per hour of the usage of the integration runtime here, so the cluster. We go with 1. Then the option is to choose whether we want the standard or enterprise SSIS engine. Similar to the on-prem, there are also 2 options. What is the difference? Well, in components. If we have SSIS package that is calling, for example, fuzzy matching, or is connecting to SAP or Oracle, or we have connectors to the analysis services, both in Azure and SQL Server, then we need to go with the enterprise. If you have this already included in your solution, then you'll know that you need to go with the enterprise. And because SSIS needs also the licensing, we need to choose if we have already the license or not. In our case, no, we don't have, and we have the standard components and logic. Next step, we can decide whether we want to deploy our SSIS package into the SSIS catalog, or we can put it into the package stores, so-called. So this package store is just it helps us organize the packages, as well as it has the extended monitoring. Or we can choose nothing and just embed the package into the data factory, or we can just call it from the data storage. In our example, I prepared the SQL Server. I prepared the Azure SQL DB so that we can use the SSIS catalog. So we need to provide the endpoint and the admin account. Okay. Then we can choose whether it should be a dual or not. So in case of a failover, here we can indicate that, yes, please let another integration runtime use the same SSIS catalog. So whenever there will be a failover, then we can create the policy that will stop this SSIS integration runtime that we are creating and let another one use it, because only one integration runtime can use a single SSIS catalog. So let's say that we call it dual. Then basically we need to set what will be the database tier. We then can test the connection. Yes, it's successful here. Next, because this is the cluster, we can set how many parallel executions per node can be run. I leave it default true. We have three options. First one is to, if you would like to install some custom extensions, drivers, components, in our demo, yes, we would like to. We have two options. Either it's fully custom and we need to point it to the blob storage where we provide it, or we can choose the already pre-installed ones in the Data Factory. And so we can also run command key, add some environment variables, and here is the license component. So Microsoft already prepared with the vendors, partners, a set of already pre-installed packages, extensions. For example, Kingsway Soft Integration Toolkit. Here, this is the website of it. It allows to, here, where is showing here? Yeah. This particular extension allows you to connect to, for example, NetSuite, Oracle Marketing Cloud, Salesforce, etc. I assume that when you are lifting and shifting your current package, you already have a dedicated connector in use. And here, remark, this is we need to put the license here. And when it comes to licensing of the third-party components, what is important here is that the license needs to be binded to the cluster. Very often, they are binded to the machine. And so every time we spin up the cluster, a random machine is assigned. So we have the random CPUs, IDs, etc. So these partners, vendors already created the version of the toolkit that is binded to the cluster instead of the particular machine. So this is the limitation. Here, in our example, we just need to provide the SAS to the blob storage. And in that blob storage, this is the blob storage, we need to install two MySQL connector drivers, or DBC. One is for 32 and 64 environment, and the main CMD script. This script is doing nothing else but just calling the MSI exec, so it's just installing on the machine the two drivers. Once we have it, we have another option, and we can bring the SSIS integration runtime into the VNet. We don't want to do it in this demo, but we want to connect it to the self-hosted integration runtime, so we can hit with our package the PowerShell and move the file. So I'm pointing to the self-hosted integration runtime I created, and I need also to select the linked service that is connecting to the blob storage. This is this blob storage is here playing the role of the staging area when it's moving the data from the on-premises to the cloud. So here I can just SSIR, I can just call the same blob that I have already prepared here. I can click continue, and here is the summary of my configuration with the estimated cost per hour. I'm not going to create this one because I already created with the very same configuration that I've just talked to you. It takes about from 3 minutes to even 20 minutes in my experience when it comes to creating the integration runtime. Once we have both, we can go and see and try to run what we have. So we create the new pipeline, execute package. We choose the, execute package, but this one. SSIS package, we choose the integration runtime, we choose the folder, project, package that is there. I already deployed it to the SQL Server, to the Azure. We have some parameters to the file share that we can override, and as you can see, we can also store them in the Azure Key Vault. If they need to be sent from the Key Vaults, we can also send them as they're sensitive. Because we are calling to the self-hosted integration runtime as the proxy, we need to make sure that we are calling the Flatfly as the proxy. let's now just make sure that the tables are empty. No, this is not empty. Let me empty my middle table in Azure. I have in MySQL the table is empty. Okay, I'm ready to go and just debug what I have here. Now, monitoring. We can monitor either in the output here, or if we publish it in the monitor, it will just give us the details if it fails. We can go also to the SSIS catalog, and the standard way we can go and see what is the current report it's running. One more, if we installing the drivers or another extension or components, we have the log created during the installation. So there are logs created here. And while the execution is in progress, we can also see extra details. If we go to the virtual machine itself, there is a dedicated folder in SSIS telemetry. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me zoom in program data as SSIS telemetry. There are detailed executions, information on the execution in different files. This is similar to what we have in the SSIS catalog monitor, but much more detailed. So whenever we need to debug, we can go here and see the details. Let's see if it has loaded the data. Yes, it has now loaded some dummy data to the Azure, and as well as to the, I hope, yeah, to the MySQL server. So it worked as expected. Yes, it is a demo, so it was prepared. Let me bring back the slides. Yeah, so with this simple demo of how we can connect to the on-prem machine, install some custom extensions, you can see that it is fairly easy, depending on the complexity of the SSIS package we have prepared. There are things to consider, enterprise or standard edition. Yeah, so depending what we use, we can install custom components, but we need to remember that if we need a license for the extension, we need to consider that it needs to be linked to the cluster ID, not to particular machine. We can schedule the SSIS packages either in the ADF or if we deploy to manage instance, then we can use SQL Server Agent Job. And in both cases, we can also use Azure Automation Runbooks to spin up the integration runtime or turn it off. More samples are available at the, this is the link provided, but it's also available in the Microsoft documentation, so you can easily see how they are built and working. Yeah, so this is all I wanted to show you quickly within 20 minutes. And are there any questions? No. Right. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed the SQL bits this year.